it just seemed like the right thing to do. Like if I put together a video sharing, oh, God dang it. Hold on. I'm getting text messages on my freaking screen. Do not disturb. Airplane, do not disturb. Let me just turn this darn thing off. Good, I didn't like that start anyway. We're going to start over. All right, so it's Tuesday night. We normally have the course on Wednesday night, but what I asked Rusty and Joe to do a little synopsis of the recent My Business course that we just went through. And I throw this in videos all the time. You guys hear me talking about it because I've gotten so much out of this over the years that I've been a part of the I guess we could call it the My Business community. And so I wanted to put together just a brief video talking about what we got out of the course, and Rusty and Joe killed it in it. There's no win or lose in it. There's no grade that you get out of it. But essentially, what we went through is a 9-week course together, where I would argue we're all the 14 people that went through it. We're all connected for life. Because of the material, because of the content, because of really, I think that just the friendships that develop from going through and discovering things together. And so, just to cue you guys a little bit on and I've talked about this sort of hit or miss in one of my many hour-long videos, but essentially, what happened to me is it was 2.5 years ago now. No, it was November of 2015, October, November 2015. I had a partner. I actually had 2 partners that I no longer have today, so we'll blame that on the course. But I had a couple of partners, and my one partner who was technically a lateral partner, so we were supposed to be, we were 65-35 and then within the next 18 months, we were to be 50-50 partners. So I was buying into the partnership. He was 14, 15 years older than me. I had a role. My role was to manage the money, was to organize the business, was to do, to serve my section of the clients. And he had a lot of the ornery, larger clients. And so I know this now, but at the time I didn't know this. I thought everything was great. We had a contract. Everything was good. We were making lots of money. The business is growing. And so he said, look, we need to take this course, right? And now, Rusty, Joe, we've all been in these type of courses where it's get rid of the bottom 80% of your clients and focus on the top 20, or go make these 10 cold calls and then come back and report to me with what happened. And so I assumed that's what it was going to be. I didn't want to go to some self-help crap. And so I went into it, and I'm like, I don't want to go to this stupid thing. It was $2,500. When I eventually called Rick, I was like, can I pay with a credit card? Because I don't know, I don't trust giving you a check for $2,500. I was that standoffish about it, but my partner wanted to take it, and in my mind, he was in charge, even though we were partners, and so I had to do it because he told me I had to do it. But what I didn't know was the whole point of taking the course was he was going to learn how to make a request of me to not be 50-50 partner because he works a lot harder, right? And so I didn't know any of this. So we go to this course, and I literally, like, mind is blown. Like, I'm eating it up. And he didn't get very much out of it. He just he was standoffish because Rick will come in and bust your nuts, man. He doesn't take no for an answer, or he'll push you. And if you're not coachable, I talk about this all the time, if you're not coachable, it becomes almost confrontational at times. And so that course, I took it, and mind was blown. And then next step was I coached the course. So I took the course again as a course coach. Mind was blown even more. It blew up our partnership. And now here I am on my own with Obsessed Wealth and Obsessed Garage, and living this freaking dream. And so I decided, what was it, maybe 6 months ago, I said to Rick, I said, I got this big community of all these really smart, talented people. How the heck, I'd like them to go through the course. But in the back of my mind, I was so afraid that I was the only lunatic that would get anything out of this crazy thing that we went through, right? This 9-week curriculum that blows your mind, changes your life. And then I found myself thinking, man, I'm gonna invite some people to do this course. And first of all, how am I even gonna do that? Because you guys know me, I don't go in the videos, and at least I'm not attempting to sell a bunch of stuff. By proxy, I end up selling a bunch of stuff, but I don't want to go into it with an agenda of I'm going to sell everybody on this course and get everybody in it, and then it'll be great because then I'll make lots of money off the $2,500, which I'm not getting any of that. I just thought maybe I could contribute to people. And so I decided rather than making a video about it, I just kind of threw it into some videos because I was so afraid that guys like you would take it and think that I was a fraud, right? Think that I didn't know what the heck I was talking about. And so my question to you guys, I'd like you both to answer is, why the heck, first of all, how did you sift through all that stuff that I was kind of accidentally talking through as I'm talking through my life? How did you decide to do it? And then what was it like when you talked to Rick for the first time? Joe, what was that like? How did that happen?
Well, it was pretty easy for me to make the commitment to want to do the class. Actually, I think I may have even contacted you before you put together and asked about Rick. And I'm not somebody that likes to be I don't like a sale. I don't like somebody to try to sell me. And for me, because I connected with you early on with various things that you were doing, I'm like, okay, yeah, I just get Matt. And I felt like Matt found that this class, this Rick guy was amazing. I'm going to give it a shot and see if this is something worthwhile. So the first time I talked to Rick, so before you take the class, Rick kind of wants to talk to you and find out a little bit about you. So that was an amazing experience, because within minutes of talking to Rick, I just felt an immediate connection. It's just. And I think it's because you felt that connection. Obviously, personality types are similar. I was like, yeah, he's gonna get me to where I need to go. And
so, did you go into it wondering, like, what the heck? I mean,
I did. I mean, I've had business coaches before, and some of them were good, some of them were okay. I was expecting something similar to that, a little bit more of a traditional type of exchange. And with Rick, immediately I got into a deeper conversation than what I thought I would. A 30-minute conversation, we got pretty deep within a few minutes. And the questions Rick would ask, in that even initial phone call, and then once the coaching kind of went on during the class, provoked me to think and be deeper and to get a deeper self-awareness of who I was, which is not what I was expecting at all from the class, and was a very welcomed addition to what I was expecting.
How about you, Rusty? You how did you decipher or figure out what I was talking about when I started doing all these videos?
Well, so I've been following you on YouTube for several years now, and it all started with a leaf blower video. And
that one.
Somebody told me that I shouldn't be drying my car with a leaf blower, so I Googled it. And then I watched your series on This Is Me, and I felt an immediate, man, I feel so good knowing I'm not the only crazy person in the world. There's somebody maybe more crazy and more anal about things. And so I kind of felt an immediate connection to you through that. And then over the years, I watched quite a few of your videos, and I've bought products based on your recommendation. And I have not bought a single product that you recommended. This is before you had the store, when you were just posting links to Amazon. Mm-hmm. So you recommended something, and I, every time, very well pleased with whatever it was. So it kind of built up a level of trust. And then I happened to be watching you scrub a wheel on some vehicle. I don't even remember which one it is now. And you started talking about this thing, and you said, look, if you are a president or a CEO or a business owner, just trust me, this will change your life. Now, I've had mentors throughout my career that have kind of pointed me in the right direction and helped me along. And I've learned enough that when they say this will change your life, if they recommend a book or a course or whatever, just do it. So I showed it to my wife and I was like, look, what do you think about this? And she's like, you need to do this course. And I said, okay, I'm in. And I even procrastinated a little bit of actually sending an email, kind of, I don't know, second overanalyzing, I guess. And I did it, and I sent you the email, and you connected me with Rick and Nancy, and then I get a call from him like the very same day or very next day. And you had even said in your email, it's like, well, I'm not sure. It may be too late. There may not be enough room in the course. And so he calls me, and I'm like, I really want to do this thing. And much like Joe said, we went from like this complete stranger I've never spoken to before, and we have this very in-depth conversation. I end up like kind of spilling my guts about all kinds of things. And he says, all right, I need you to send me 3 results, a minimum of 3 results that you want to achieve out of this course. And that's kind of where things got started.
How many times did he bust your chops? Like, how many revisions did you have to do to get it right?
I only had to go through 1 revision.
Yeah.
My first revision was right idea, but too many I want to, I need to.
Too many hopes and dreams, right?
Hopes and dreams, not the like, I'm committed to making this happen. But I got it right the second time.
So, Joe, what business are you in?
Industrial sales, primarily food automation and equipment for food processing plants, large commercial bakeries and that type of thing. But also get into industrial sales, things like pallet jacks and racking and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of like the starter to get me my foot in the door at various companies. And then from there, it turns into conveyors and reverse engineer of equipment and that type of thing. So it's a little bit of everything. And then custom design equipment and machinery as well.
So how did this whole thing, like, so we went through this course. I mean, what do you think? I mean, how's your business going to benefit from that? I mean, what's going to happen?
Well, for me, I've been in business for like 17 years, and I felt like I had plateaued a little bit. That I was as far as I was going to take it, and I was trying to figure out what's the next step. And it just seemed like the timing was perfect. And I don't think there's any such thing as a coincidence. And, here I'm trying to figure this all out. And here's a crazy guy that I'm watching on YouTube talking about this business coach. And I thought, well, shoot, what the heck? What do I got to lose? I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot, and reached out to you. So, I didn't really have an agenda going into it. I just, I talked to you about being coachable because I've sucked at that in the past, especially like for fitness coaches and that kind of stuff. It's like, yeah. And it's like, don't eat this, do that. And kind of did it, kind of didn't. And I knew going into this that, okay, I got to really be coachable this time. So, I asked you, Matt, what's about being coachable, And I thought, all right, I'm going to hold my opinions to myself here, and I'm just going to do what this dude says. And like Rusty, I had 3 objectives that I was committed to achieving. And, it's kind of funny because the way Rick worded that is it wasn't just about having a goal. It was about making a commitment. And for me, the second he said, are you committed to this? That was like golden for me. Because it's like, okay, that's the key word I needed to hear in order for this to work out and for me to be able to achieve this. Because once I give somebody my word, I mean, I'm gonna do my damnedest to make it happen. So I'm like, shoot, I just committed to this guy, and I must be some sort of freak because I know he said he's going to send this back, and I sent my 3 things in, and half an hour later I got an email, fast, print it out. So I'm like,
you guys are much better than me because it took me 37 tries to get mine right, and I don't. The first time, even the darn 4th time of taking the stupid thing, I still got it wrong. He's like, I don't think that's right. I'm like, oh, gee whiz. So what about you, Rusty? You're in a really cool, you have a cool gig. What's the story there?
Yeah, so I like to call myself an international arms dealer because that is what I do. My official title is president of CFD International, and what we do is arm helicopters. Everything from like a Black Hawk down to smaller things. Typically, we put machine guns, rockets, missiles, armament systems. Take a commercial aircraft and turn it into a lethal machine.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and there's not many people out there doing it.
So what is why the heck do you take this course? I mean, you got a cool gig, you love what you're doing, I would assume. I mean, I know I would love it if I was doing that. What's the why take it, and then what comes out of it? What do you think?
Well, I'd say again, it's funny because of the similarities to Joe, but when I started at CFD 14 years ago, I started as the IT guy / assembly guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked my way up through program management and production management and general manager and all these different things and up to president. But I'm a guy that's like, I'm always like, okay, once I get comfortable at something, I'm looking for the next challenge, the next adventure. What's next? Like, where do I take the company from here?
Yeah, I mean, you and I talked about it. I mean, I don't know how much you want to share of this, but you're thinking about, well, shoot, I guess I got to go build my own company now. You're the president. Now what? Right?
Yeah. And yeah, and I've never really, I've started some little side things that were really hobbies, but not companies. I've done some real estate investing and getting into multifamily housing. And, I was just trying to work through, I've got all these great ideas that I want to chase and all these things, but yet then I'm stressed out, anxious, whatever it is, because I've lost focus, and then it's not fun anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I can relate to that. I mean, I talked about this quite a bit. I'm at Merrill Lynch, and I'm making tons of cash, and I'm serving nice people, but I'm miserable to the point that I went freaking crazy. And you got to try to figure out what's the next thing. So how does the course then? So what happens? So you go through this 9 weeks. What did anything change? I feel like I see like a smile on your face that didn't exist when you first showed up. So
No.
do you have it? I'm assuming you don't have it all figured out, but where are you at? What's the story?
Well, this goes back to the original coaching call with Rick, and he said, I guess because I'd been here for so long at this company, and people will say, "Oh man, your job's really cool," and I'll go, "Yeah, it's all right." I go to a lot of meetings. I was very like downer about it, and so I was talking to him on that first call, and he's like, "So, what do you mean? You say you don't sound all that enthusiastic." But he calls me on stuff like right away.
Didn't he say something about, why don't you just blow your brains out or something like that?
Oh yeah. If you want to get to the finish line, just blow your brains out and you'll be at the finish line. And then he said, enjoy the journey.
I love it.
But he said, well, why aren't you enthusiastic? That's so cool. I was like, well, I don't get to fly helicopters or shoot big guns, and at least not very often in my role. And he's like, well, why not? You're the president. And I was like, well, that's a good question, And I started immediately making excuses, justifying why I don't have a helicopter or whatever. He's like, well, do you need to own one? Because I said, well, I guess not. And he's like, then what else could you do? And really, he didn't give me a single answer. He just asked me a lot of thought-provoking questions and made me really dig in and think about things differently and stop making excuses. And so that was from our very first call. And it wasn't actually one of my results, like, I want to get a helicopter. But it opened up my mind to a different way of thinking. And so I had a discussion with the one of the owners of the company, and he's like, hey, why don't we, I've always wanted to buy an old helicopter and restore it. Like, what if we did that? I'm like, well, there's an idea I've never even considered. Towards later in the course, we were talking about, man, how great would it be to be able to have our own aircraft that we could go do test shoots in the air anytime we wanted. Like, man, that would just be so awesome. And I was like, all right, well, how are we going to do that? Presenting this to the team.
Mm-hmm.
And they go, one of my guys, my sales manager says, hey, I know this guy that has a helicopter and he loves guns and he loves what we do. And I'm like, all right, well, let's work out an equal exchange of value. Let's, we can arm his helicopter or put the main kit in and trade off flight hours for this equipment or something. Like, very open. I don't even know where it's going to end yet. We haven't worked all that out yet. And what's really cool is, so he's all excited about that. He's coming to visit. He loves the idea. And then he's like, well, right now my helicopter's being painted at this company in El Paso. And we're like, okay, so we're going to have to wait a little while until it's ready. And so he introduced us to these guys in El Paso, which then they thought, man, that is so cool. We love what you do. Y'all got to get out here and visit. And we're going out to visit them next Wednesday. Anyways, they're doing some very cool stuff with people, just and they want to work with us, and we're just gonna go meet them, and
that's what it's all about, man. You just open up to, when you realize that you have your company, you personally have a contribution to make to other people, right? I mean, that's part of the reason why I asked you to do this gosh darn video. Like, some people might look at us and think we're nuts. Like, what are you wasting his time? And some people are going to click off this video in 20 seconds. And then if there's one or two people that we can contribute to by just sharing this stuff. So,
well, to be fair, we are all kind of nuts.
Well, yeah, this is true. Yeah. I bet you some others can relate to that. But yeah, isn't it? It's like freaking magic, man. I don't even know how it happens, but now you're connecting with someone that connects with somebody that connects. Everybody kind of just, oh man, it's awesome.
Well, and not only that is, so now we have this customer that has asked us if we could mount 2 dirt bikes to the outside of a helicopter so they could rapidly deploy them,
mm-hmm.
and then put, soldiers in the field. And I'm like, my gears just start turning. I'm going, okay, we got a company with helicopters that does things for a stunt group. And, maybe this will come together and be something where we all benefit.
Isn't it so freaking cool? The funny part is Rick didn't do any of that.
No.
You did it. Right.
But he challenged me to think in a different way and just to let go of, like, just my personal ideas of things, and to invite other people in and open myself up. I guess that's the big thing. Right.
Yeah. Just ask yourself, why the heck not? I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Why, what does a helicopter cost?
Depends. If you want it unarmed, you're looking at $3 to $5 million. Armed, 10 to 12.
So you're the president. Why don't you just buy one? It's only $4 or $5 million.
Well, I have no $4 to $5 million just laying around. So
all right. Well, yeah. So now you get what I get when people are like, "Why don't you just buy a GT4 and buy this and that?" I mean, where these freaking people think money comes from,
Yeah, there's overhead, there's salaries, there's a lot of expenses.
But I'm not saying I can't go get a GT4 to add to the GT3. I might. I mean, I'm not, maybe that means that I borrow my buddies or something. I don't know, but I think the people don't understand that sometimes.
Well, I mean, you even did that in one of your videos in the mountains. You drove like 4 different cars in a day.
Yeah, and I bet you that the guys that were letting me drive the car were so afraid, like, oh man, I don't want to ask them, then they'll feel like I owe them something. And then they were so excited to be in a darn video, and to let me go and experience their car and to get my thoughts on it. And here I am, I'm deathly afraid that they're gonna say no, and if they did, we'll just go ask another one. There's 25 other ones there, but they were so excited to be able to contribute to me and to be able to contribute to the other people that were going to watch it in the videos. And man, it took me 3.5 years to finally. I wanted to make those videos 3.5 years ago, the first year we did it. And then I finally asked it, and then everybody's like, "Well, when you come back up, we need to do this, my car or this car." I'm like, "Holy crap! Why am I precluding myself? Why am I making up all this crap?"
Yeah,
great videos too, man.
The driving series.
Those videos was real good.
So Joe, I see you. I don't want to steer you too much here, but I see you on social media, and I didn't see you on. We weren't friends prior to this on Facebook. What the heck's going on there?
Well, like you, I'm challenging myself. And, I think everybody in my family was shocked when I got on Facebook. I was the biggest anti-Facebook guy on the planet, saying it's evil, it's awful, stay away from it. But at the same time, for me to be able to get outside of my comfort zone, which from taking your lead and watching where you've gone by getting outside your comfort zone, I thought, well, shoot, this can't hurt. I'm going to give it a shot. And echoing a little bit of what Rusty was saying, Rick, challenged me to think differently about me and about things. And it's not like he's the answer guy, because he doesn't have any answers. He's just asking us questions that make us find the answers for ourselves. We've got them, it's all buried inside of me. It has been all along. Mm-hmm. It's just, life just takes weird turns. And, for whatever reason, I clicked on a video one day I was looking for a pressure washer, and it just, I kind of clicked with you. And then, within minutes of talking to Rick, like Rusty said, the conversations got real deep, and I'm spilling my guts out to him, trying to figure out, okay, where am I going? What am I doing? Why am I doing this? And so the whole Facebook thing, I thought, well, maybe, I've had a couple of people that I respect and that have said, you're looking at this kind of wrong. You only have to put out there what you want to put out, and what you don't want to, you don't have to. And I see where there's a lot of potential there. I also see where there's a lot of negative stuff. And it's just a matter of trying to goose step to make sure you stay out of the negative stuff and try to stay positive. And ultimately for me, I spent 11 years teaching. And, mentoring is something that I really enjoyed doing with students over the years. And I look at, Facebook, here's an opportunity for me to reach out for some people and tell them what my experience has been of them, something that most people would never say, but it's a chance for me to just say, hey, thanks for doing this. I really appreciate what you do. And it could be, wherever these people touch my life, whatever it might be, it could be somebody at the vet clinic, it could be somebody at the grocery store, whatever, that I've met through whatever terms over the years. And now here with Facebook, I got an opportunity to kind of reach out to them and tell them what I really think and, how I perceive them. And I look at it as an opportunity to just maybe make a difference for somebody.
Yeah, it's funny. I got started on Facebook mainly because I like the exercise of filling out all the fields, and compiling a profile and, filling out all the things. And I look at it all the time. We're like, you're missing 2 fields. I'm like, oh, shoot, I got to go in, or you haven't updated this in a while. And so when I got started doing it, I don't know how many, 10, 15 years ago or something like that, I didn't want anything to do with the people. Right? I didn't want anything to do with connecting with other people, or so I thought. This is back when I thought I was better than everybody, and so I just wanted to fill it out. I'm like, this is cool. And so one night I sat there for 3 hours and kind of sifted through all the different. I need to write a tagline, and that's when I came up with "This is me, all or nothing," and all that crap. And and then the magic of it is you can create your own universe. And and I know some guys are probably watching saying, Facebook, that's stupid. Well, maybe it is, and it kind of is. And it doesn't have to be Facebook, but I think the key, the key learning experience, at least for me, was that, and if I just open up to possibility and I just kind of put it out there and do the authentic version of me, that stuff just happens. It's like magic. Instead of holding on to you were making up this whole story about it, right? Instead of just give it a shot,
And that's what I thought. Well, the only way I can really comment on it is if I actually try it and see what it's all about. And, it's given me an opportunity to reach out to people that I haven't talked to in years that, the whole friends thing I'm a little bit skeptical of, because it's like, my friends I can probably count on two hands. These are all acquaintances. So it's like I look at that and I'm just, I mentally in my head, it's like, no, these are acquaintances tabs. Just the, local car culture, be involved and know what's going on. I mean, it's beneficial for me from that standpoint. But ultimately, this has all been a little bit of an experiment. So taking the class, doing the Facebook thing, has all been an opportunity for me to just challenge myself. Can I get outside of my comfort zone and just let all my preconceived ideas, notions, judgments go, and just go with the flow? What is it this whole experience is the last 8-10 weeks has been. So my joining Facebook kind of coincided with the class almost exactly. I kind of timed it out perfectly, and I thought, well, I'm going to want to stay in touch with these people from this class. Maybe this is the way the rest of the world communicates, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot. So that was the whole idea behind doing the Facebook and trying everything, and we'll see what happens.
Hey, Joe, I didn't even know that you had just joined Facebook. And it's so funny because, and I have to credit Larry where credit is due. Larry was the one that kind of pushed me into this, or not pushed me, but encouraged me. And I took a 2-year something hiatus from Facebook and said it was evil. And, and then Larry, we had a good conversation. He was another guy in the course, and we talked a lot about these social media and marketing and things. And now on our website today, we have social media accounts for like all the different ones. And I'm getting re-engaged with social media, and it's the funny thing about it is, if it was in and of myself, it would have never happened. What happened was I asked my team, what can we do to, I guess, let the world in on, what we do, and create I can't think of the right words now, but
yeah, well, you're not going to sell. You're going to
no.
show what you're gonna show the people your experience of, and that's the whole magic of what happened for me in this whole thing, is that no one would know about what I'm up to if I'm not willing to share it, and then share it without an agenda. And if you do that, with your business, then people you let them in, and then you find customers because of it.
Yeah, that's the key though, Matt. I think. Why you've had the success you've had is because you're not trying to sell. You're just doing you. And, I think some people are going to get it. Some people aren't. And, it's like the class. I think some people will get this class and it'll resonate immediately. And other people are going to be like, what the hell was that? And, it's just personalities. I mean, all personalities just don't click together all the time. And for whatever reason, we got 3 crazy guys here that for some way think alike, probably have a lot of the same little quirks about us, and it clicks. Some people like a hard sell. I don't. I hate people trying to sell to me. It's like, yeah, you don't know anything I don't already know, so knock it off. And I mean, I know that's not true, but it's kind of what I have going through my head the second somebody tries to sell me something. So it's like, just give me the information and let me figure it out. And that's why I connected with you immediately, was because of that approach. And like the class, it's not like this class isn't going to be like a whole bunch of boring homework and stuff. It's just it's more of a conversation. And I think that's why a lot of people connect with you on your YouTube channel, is because it's like, here's this guy having a conversation with us, even though we're not talking to you. You're having a conversation with everybody, and the class is much like that. What we have 14 people in the class, and we all had a conversation for 3 hours, and you learn from listening to other people. I learned a lot from everybody in the class. And there wasn't, we all come from different walks of life, different businesses. It's not like any two businesses were even remotely the same. And I learned something from everybody, because people are people, and just having a dialogue and a conversation, you learn stuff. You see mistakes that you've been making, and you're like, oh shoot, yeah, I've been doing that for a long time. Why the hell am I doing that?
It's funny, you mentioned about, kind of having a conversation in the video, and occasionally, like, I'll come to this epiphany. I'm like, I gotta talk about this in the video. Like, it's very rare that I contrive anything, right? It's always organic. It's just, all right, this is what I'm doing today, so I gotta set the camera up. But it happens often where it's like, man, there's something that I feel like some other people could benefit from, that I'm struggling with, that I can talk through right now. And so when we talk about Facebook, and we use that as an example, or creating a social profile for your business and how that benefits, Larry Velez, who was in the courses, he's like a wizard when it comes to thinking about technology and what's in the forefront of it. But I think of it more as what the course has helped me do is to. I get sucked into this vortex all the time, where I want to kill these kids that come in and naysay on what I'm talking about. But it's like you have to, and you have to be okay with screwing up. I'm going to go in and fight people on what's the right way to foam a car, and then eventually, hopefully, through some of the things I learned through the course, eventually learn that, well, people might not be where I'm at, and be willing to give up some things sometimes. But unless you put it out there, whether it's in business, whether it's in requesting something of somebody, or it's it's contributing with the fear that maybe they won't receive it, right? So for me, it was inviting you guys into the course, and knowing that, well, there's a good chance that they're going to think I'm nuts. And I already know I'm nuts, so I don't know why I would give up or have these hang-ups. But I think that we learned something by going through this. So, Rusty, do you think, so we've gone through this 9 weeks. This is the 10th week. We're done with it. Are you fixed? Are you like perfect? I mean, what happens now?
No. No. I wish I could say I've arrived. I'm there. I feel like I may be like 5% down the path.
Right.
Because it's opened up my mind to, like, there's so much more now.
Right.
So I don't think you ever arrive. You start forming better habits, and you change your way of thinking and your way of doing. So no.
And being okay with it, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it sounds crass, but that, I tend to be very, I guess, goal oriented, and I'm like, I don't really, I just want to get to the end result.
Mm-hmm.
And I was having that conversation with Rick, like, I just want to skip to the end where it's like success, or where everything's finished or something, And he said, well, if you're so hard set on getting to the finish line, put a gun to your head, and you'll be at the end of the finish line. And I was like, wow, you should not be a counselor. like that caught me off guard, but it stuck in my head. And now every time I start thinking about, skipping the journey and trying to just jump to the finish line, I go, I don't want to jump to the finish line.
Yeah, because what else are you going to do, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm learning to enjoy the journey. And turns out I really do enjoy the journey. I just didn't realize it.
Yeah, and I bet you, for me, I have to remind myself that 50 times a day. It's like I get on this path of, okay, today I'm going to do, every single morning, I'm going to do these 17 things. And then I send myself into a tizzy until I eventually I find myself, like, I don't know, making a post on or like today I was writing a journal of my GT3 RS, and I have this burning like guilt that I'm wasting time, right? And because I kind of am, but to me it's not a waste. It's my passion, it's enjoyment, and And if I do it and I do it without an agenda, then people might show up and read it. And then even if it's one person or 5 people, and then come to the realization that I kind of need some people. It's a lot more fun when you have some people in your life to enjoy it with you.
And that's, I mean, we've kind of touched on this a few times, and you just triggered a thought. Because I said that, where do I go from here? Well, I'm going to continue the journey with my peers, right? And it was interesting to me. We talked about how we connected with Rick, right off the bat. But I remember I called Joe, and I think he was my first call. And I'm like, what am I going to talk to? Somebody I've never met. We don't know hardly anything about each other. What are we going to talk to fill 10 minutes? And Joe, we're on the phone for like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah. We found out we both bought new Tundras within the last couple of months. And
oh yeah. And there was a couple dozen Me Too's during that conversation, and it just kind of. It's so easy to get wrapped up in your own little world, your own brain. Mm-hmm. And if you don't connect to people, if you don't ever open yourself up to making that first phone call, you never realize that there's other people out there that are like you and get you. And I think I had the same experience with you, Matt. Now, it's a little bit different because I knew a lot about you from your videos, but you didn't know anything about me. And we still had like a hour-plus conversation the first time, and several more since then.
Yeah, I think we had like 4 shut it downs. All right, we got to go do something, and then 10 minutes longer.
Because you could go all day.
Right.
Matt, can I? When you said, you said this a few times that you felt, vulnerable. Like, geez, I talk these people maybe into taking this class or put it out there, and I'm, and I see where you're coming from, but at the same time, it's like, how could any of us fail? I mean, here's an opportunity for us to spend 3 hours a week thinking about things and communicating with 14 people that are probably, some of them are like-minded. There's no way to fail in that. We're all going to get something out of that. I mean, even if you didn't get anything out of anything, just being able to sit and talk with 14 people and have a good conversation is priceless right there. So, I look at it and it's like, yeah, there's no way you can fail.
Well, it's my fear with anything. It's like, oh, shoot, I put a link to Amazon for Carpo Pearl. I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe it's not as good as I think it is. Or, man, I've curated these darn pressure washers and I think it's awesome, but man, somebody might find a flaw in it, and oh my gosh. And so these are all these things that go through my head, that this story that I'm making up, it drives me insane. But I think that the unique skill that I have, even though I have all these internal things going on, because of my enlightenment through opening my mind, I just ship it. Just do it. Just do it. Whatever happens, happens. Me sort of putting us on the video saying that I'm scared about that. It's just, man, it's powerful. It helps open everything up. Helps everybody connect. And so, yeah, but I'm still skilled. I'm doing this video, and I'm like, oh my gosh, sort of freaking people are gonna think I'm an idiot, and now I am selling this course, and I start making up all this crap that drives me crazy.
We're not selling anything, Matt. We're just having a conversation about an experience we had, right?
Yeah.
So, we all had an experience, and like Rusty called me the first time. I think I called Larry, and I talked to probably half, maybe a little over half of the people in the class. I know everybody's busy, and for me, it's like, I don't want to bug Matt because I know he's swamped. He's got all this stuff going on. I don't want to bug Larry. He's got this going on.
Yeah, but everybody's waiting for your call.
Right, and that's the thing. I'm like, well, geez, no one's calling me, and then Rusty called me out of the blue. And everybody I talked to in the class, outside of class, just on the phone, was like, yeah, we've got a lot in common. And,
yeah, but I'm worried about that 17-year-old, 5'3" little prick that's going to bust my chops in a comment, and then I'm going to go into a freaking tailspin of wanting to kill everybody in the world. I'm going to be calling up Rusty to figure out how I'm going to borrow $10 million to build a freaking helicopter to go blow up that kid's house. That's where my mind goes.
Haters will hate, right? So, got to just let them be.
Yeah, but, actually, I'm pretty good at rolling with it because, some people aren't. Yeah,
Well,
but
Matt, you're authentic, and that's the cool thing. And I thought, the class, my feeling was, and I don't know, Rusty can maybe comment on it, but, out of everybody in the class, I felt everybody was authentic. We saw no one was trying to be something that they weren't. Some people you could tell, were getting it. Others were like just struggling for a while. I think at the end of the class, everybody got it. But, some people it just clicked with right away, and others, I think it took a little bit. But everybody was authentic. I didn't feel like anybody was trying to be something that they weren't, and everybody just kind of let their opinions just kind of fall to the floor, and it's like, okay, well, here we are.
Well, and if I could add to that, I remember that very first video conference because I'm on a conference with all these like CEOs and business owners, and there's like these doubts. It's like, well, am I, do I even belong here, to a certain extent? And these people have been doing this for longer and have done more. And it was a little intimidating, that very first, introduce yourself. And then very soon after, Rick said something to the effect of, check your egos before you log in. Like, we're all just people here. Something, I'm paraphrasing. And that's what was really cool about it, is there was no bravado and it was just like, hey, we're all real people. We all have real struggles. We happen to have a lot of the exact same struggles. And everybody was like really cool and supportive about it, no big attitudes.
it's funny that the most intimidating dude is the one talking about he was intimidated by other people.
And I know y'all say that, and I'm like, I'm not intimidating. I couldn't scare anybody.
Yeah, well, you're missing out because you're the one in the corner. Like, oh man, that guy's definitely not going to get these. He's not liking this at all. He's way too big for all of us. He needs to, he needs to be in the Fortune 500 CEO group.
Well, what's funny though is like you had your fears. And I have my fears and insecurities and doubts.
And then when you lay it out there, we're all laughing, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's the best thing, is the entertainment value. There was a couple of times where I like, where's my beer and popcorn? Just sit back and watch. Because there was some pretty good entertainment watching a few engagements Rick had with some of the people in the class. So, that was awesome on its own.
So what happens next? Where do we go from here?
Well, let's see. For me, well, one thing, I've changed a lot already in how I manage the company. Before, I would delegate something, and then as soon as things went off the tracks and there was some fire to be fought, I would insert myself and just kind of take over. I'd put the fire out, and then I would relinquish control again. And I've changed a lot already, I feel, in that when something comes up that's, one of my manager's responsibilities, I'll support them, I'll coach them, I'll talk to them, but I won't do it for them. And that has, to me, been so freeing that not every decision and not every crisis is on me. I don't have to own all those things. So just my general demeanor at work and at home is a lot of stress relief. So going forward, certainly going to keep doing that. Before the course, I guess I have to just kind of tell on myself a little bit. I got into a point where I probably had my door closed 95% of the time and said, I'm in deep thought, do not disturb. And I was in deep thought, and I was working on task.
You're in deep thought doing everybody else's job for them, right?
Well, some of it, yeah. And so I'm doing task, and I spent about, it might be generous to say 5% of my time on relationships. And what I've learned through this is I need to spend about 5% of my time on task and about 95% of my time on relationships. So going forward, I look forward to of course, I know we're going to stay connected as a group, but also expanding our group and expanding my group of friends. I hate, a lot of people call it networking. I call it just making friends.
But see, it doesn't have to be like, I know you guys think like I start squirming when I think about I got to go to a cocktail hour and I'm going to talk to the local attorney and the local, like, no,
Yeah.
you can do it your way, right? You can do you, and even in your company, you can go and do spend 95% of your time, but do it in whatever. In my way, it's usually self-deprecating. I always find myself talking about myself, but then I make fun of myself talking about myself, and then people they sniff out that authenticity. So it doesn't have to be what you don't. It doesn't have to be fake. It can be real, because people know the difference anyway, right? They know when you're faking it, and so you can go out, you open up your door, and you tell everybody, "Man, I really don't want to open up my freaking door, but I'm going to do it for you people," and then they'll ha ha ha, and everybody come in and mess with you. I think that's what it's about.
But the thing is it's not just opening the door and like, I got to do this horrible, reluctant thing. Now, when somebody needs something, like, they're coming in looking for support. They're not looking for me to do their job. They're looking for, I guess I can't think of a better word. It's just they're looking for support. And so the conversations are welcomed and productive. We don't have, at one point in time, I bet I had an entire Tuesday devoted to weekly meetings, just update kind of meetings. That had been pared down some, but today I have no like standing meetings. We'll have the occasional, like, we all need to get together and talk about something, but it's issue driven. It's usually kind of impromptu. And that's freeing, because now I don't have a day a week tied up doing unproductive or mostly unproductive work. And I think I feel more, I know I feel more engaged in the business and my team on a daily basis than I did before when we were having all these meetings. It's crazy how it kind of works. It didn't make sense, but it works.
I freaking hate meetings, so I'm all for that. It's part of the reason why I don't have a partner anymore, because they want to meet every day. I'm like, what are we going to meet about? How about I'll come and see you when I've got something to say?
Exactly.
Gosh.
Matt, for me, the struggle was I was just shutting everybody out, because I was, it's like I deal with customers and vendors, and that was it. I was just shutting everybody out. And, I think having an environment like this, giving me a chance to have a conversation with a bunch of business owners or executives was invaluable. And you ask where we go from here. Well, I'm going to continue on with that. I'm going to continue on meeting with the group, whoever wants to participate, and continue with that dialogue. For me, that's what's been the most valuable thing out of all of this is, Rick and pushing me a little bit and making me, think about things a little deeper. My head has kind of exploded, and I think you get this. I'm looking at, I don't have enough time in the day to do all the things that I see there were right in front of me before that I wasn't pursuing, or I was just being lazy about it and not really pushing to that next level. And now it's like, oh, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. Why have I I should have been doing this a long time ago. And so, the next coming months is going to be to start really applying a lot of the stuff that I've been working on through the class and thinking about. So, I've already moved a lot of things forward. Now it's going to be not just moving those forward, but actually having things start coming to fruition. And in order to make that happen for me, I'm part of it, but having a group of people that I can sit and have a conversation with, when you get stuck is invaluable. I just look at that and think, man, that's really where this is at. I was shutting everybody out. It's like, just by letting people in, now I'm feeling motivated and And I feel like I have a new breath of air in my business of where I'm going and what I'm going to do. It's just it's just a matter of having enough time to make it all happen, right?
Yeah, and so now comes the next evolution. You know, I'm a few years into this ahead of you guys, and I can see exactly where you're at, and you know, and I thought I had it all figured out, and then I had a meeting with Rick this week, and oh my God, I'm all screwed up. Like I literally sitting there, and I know that he has the answer, and he won't give it to me. And I'm frustrated. Like, I'm literally, like, fidgeting. I'm like this, and I'm back, and I'm forward, and I'm not looking at him. I'm looking at the ground, and I'm just thinking about ahead. And he says, well, you'll call me midweek, and you'll have the answer. And I'm like, there's no way. I don't even know what you're talking about. And so this is...
I'm laughing because I've been there so many times.
Oh man, and it's like, you know, he sees it and he knows it because he's a third party. He's seen, we all kind of do the same things, whether our businesses are similar or not. We're humans. We all have, you know, tendencies toward the same thing. And so anyway, I want to thank you guys for being coachable. Like I said, you just show up and you don't have an agenda other than to improve yourself, and then you listen and you just give it a whirl. And, you know, even me, you know, I would say that there are some things in the course that I still am, you know, reluctant to do. Like, I fight it, say, I don't need to do that. When, you know, but then there are, you know, if you can open yourself up to like 50% of it, it'll change your life. I mean, so am I making a fair assumption, and that's me making this bold statement of it'll change your life? I mean, it's completely flipped mine upside down to where I literally work 19 hours a day, it feels like, because I wake up at 3 a.m. and I'm thinking about it. And like, I don't think I've worked for like a minute, you know, since evolving into this, whatever this thing is, for, you know, because it's, you know, whether it's developing a relationship with somebody, if you know how to do it and do it in your way and do it authentically, it's not work. It's just life. You know, it's fun.
Yeah. Well, for me, Matt, what you just said was, you know, I don't think you realize the advice that you give. I don't think you realize that it's coming across as advice, but you said something a minute ago that really clicked with me at the beginning of the class, where we were talking on the phone, and you said, you know, apply as much of this as you can. You know, you're not going to be able to get it all in. You know, here I'm stressing. I got to do this. You know, and when you said that, it just, that resonated with me. It's like, okay, I'm going to apply what I can, because there's just so much here. I'm going to apply what I can and run with that for now. And that was really valuable advice that you gave, that I felt at the beginning of the class, because I was really stressed and like, am I going to be able to get all this stuff done? Am I going to be able to apply all this? And once I let that go, it was like that kind of let a lot of weight off my shoulders. It's like, I'm going to just run with what I can. And as far as getting stuff out of it, that right there is it.
And you're always, I said this, that's the thing I said in the beginning of the videos when I first mentioned it, was you're always going to be too busy, right? It's never going to be the right time. I do this every single day of my life. We're like, okay, tomorrow, I've been doing this with getting in shape. It's like, all right, I'll start tomorrow, because something will be easier, and it never happens. So if anybody, you know, the second time I took the course was one of the worst times in my life, and it was the best time I ever could have taken. I didn't have time, I didn't have energy, and yet it, you know, showing up on Wednesday just totally it made life so much better and so much easier. So, and I know a lot of you people that are watching this video after we've, you know, gone to, if you've made it this far into it. My guess is if you started watching, it's kind of hard to turn it off, because I'm guessing a lot of people are relating with what we're saying. But there isn't going to be a better time. It won't exist. It will not happen. It'll happen after you take the course, and you're gonna have all the time in the freaking world, because you live a life with a little less agenda attached to it. And you know, one of the biggest lessons I've learned here lately is I need to stop using the buzzwords of all the course, because then people start, you know, lashing out because they don't know what the heck I'm talking about. You know, I'm yelling about people, I don't want your opinion, and I don't want your help, and all that crap. People don't know what the heck I'm talking about. If they knew, they would they wouldn't be fighting back. But anyway, thanks guys. I think let's see, we're we're an hour and a minute into this, and my normal typical video.
Would you mind if I share one more thing?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, man.
When I came into this course, I found myself often, frustrated and angry, often at people for not meeting my expectations. And not just people at work. It could be people at home. It could be people on the road, especially. And that's a lot to carry around, and it just drains so much energy that you could use as productive, creative energy. But I saw that a lot with everybody in the course too. We've been let down by people that we delegated to, and then they didn't follow through, or they dropped the ball, or they whatever, whether it's a supplier, a contractor, an employee, a friend. And through all this, I guess maybe I thought somehow I was going to be able to find a way to fix all these people through this course. Like anybody that's, not doing something right, like I'm going to fix them. And I got the surprise. It's like, well, there's nothing wrong with them. It's all wrong with you. Like you got to fix yourself. And I think, Joe, can you speak to that?
I can, exactly, because, my company is nowhere near as large as yours is, Rusty, but it was interesting as I'm working through all this each time that where's the problem, and I stop and think about it. It's like, it's me. And, I just, instance after instance, it was, I'm the problem. I'm the problem. It's not my customers. It's not my vendors. It's not situations. It's not everybody else. It's just, I'm not approaching the situation correctly, and that's why I'm not getting the result I wanted. Yeah. The only other thing that I would like to add, Matt, would be, I hope anybody that's made it this far doesn't think that that we're trying to sell anything here. So I don't think that's the idea. For people that are thinking, whether it be this course or something else, if you're open and just want to experience something different and just being open to trying something and not having any preconceived notions of it, you'll get a lot out of the material. And, this isn't about trying to convince anybody to do it. It might not be for everybody to do something like this, but I agree with what you were saying, Matt, that there's, we're all struggling for time. And I almost didn't take it. I think maybe the week before I was telling my wife, I don't know, maybe I don't want to do this. I'm so busy. I've got this going on, and I'm so grateful that I went ahead with
it. Yeah. And to second what Joe said, we don't get an endorsement or a course credit or anything out of this. We're doing it. I always look at it this way. If somehow I ever stumbled onto the cure for cancer, I'd be screaming it from the rooftops and telling everybody. Like, I'm not going to keep that to myself. And for me, this is just my experience, and I certainly wouldn't want to hide that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks for contributing to me, guys, and then contributing to our future friends. That's what's going to happen from this. So the guys that make it through the video, the guys that reach out, whether look us up, then send an email or something like that, and we'll, it's the only way to change. I think change the way you're doing things just by being open to. Maybe you don't need to change anything. I don't know, but I feel like I always need to change something every single day. And so that's, I think, what this is all about. Is just opening up, getting out of your own head, and amazing things happen. We're just making this crap up anyway. Who's going to stop us, right?
Right.
Look at me. I'm just making this stuff up every gosh darn day, and then the next thing I make something else up, and it turns into something else massive. It's crazy. I can't believe it. So I'm going to keep making up crap and connecting with awesome people. And so anyway, thanks to you, to those of you who made it through this, and I think we can all hold on to this tagline. Stay tuned for more crazy, because we all got a bunch of it. So anyway, thanks for watching this stuff, and hopefully I'll see you guys that own businesses or the CEO or main decision maker. I have full intention of talking Rick into creating a curriculum for those, or maybe you're the vice president, or maybe you're up and coming engineer or something like that, or you're a doctor and you work for a hospital or something like that. I have full intention. I think that there's value there for all of us to connect on a much deeper and higher level. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. Because what happens when the force pulls you back, your foot naturally comes off the gas. You have to keep your foot to the floor, foot to the floor.
Dialed in.
Like just cut right to the heart. It was like, oh yeah, I get it.
Yep. I bet you I probably had 7 to 10 light bulb moments, because maybe I was just at a way worse starting point than you. Because I'm like, I haven't had anybody challenge me in a long time. Like, I don't know, they just won't push back, and I want them to, because that's when it helps me to like challenge myself. Mm-hmm. And so hearing these things, I'm like, it took me a little while. Like, it usually would take me about a day and a half to let it sink in, have a coaching call, and I'd have 1,000 questions. And then after working through that, then it would just kind of click sometime that day. But yeah.
Yeah, Matt, if you could encourage Rick to do the exact same course material, but make it 16 weeks, because like those first couple of weeks, the stuff is so deep. Mm-hmm. If you have taken like the first week and divided that up into like 2 or 3 nights, the first and second, and for me, it's like there's just so much more there. I know there's more there that we barely even scratch the surface of.
Well, that's where the magic. That's where the magic of becoming a course coach is. Right, because then you get your 18 weeks out of it, by coaching, and you don't coach anything. All you're doing is listening to them babble, and you know a little bit more than they know, and you get to laugh at them a little bit, and then you get to like read back the questions to yourself, and while you're listening to them not understanding it, then you kind of understand it better. And so that the coaching the course and going through it again is, I think, key. And so that's what I did, and again I took it again when I left Merrill Lynch, which so basically I left, and I don't know when you leave, like, it's freaking chaos. Like, you don't give a 2 weeks notice, you run out the door to the next place, and you're begging all your clients to come with you, and some of them are coming and some of them aren't, because we don't get a salary. It's like you leave and it's like you don't know if you have a good relationship with people or not. You can't tell them you're leaving beforehand. And so I called Rick and said, look, I'm set up to be the course coach, but I'm just not going to do it because this is just not a good time. It'll be better later. If I didn't take that, I literally would have had a nervous breakdown.
Now, Matt, I'm curious. You've been through this 3 times now, right?
Yeah, this is the 3rd time through the course, but remember, I retain Rick as a coach.
Yeah. Well, as going through the course for 3 times, do you still get things out of it?
Oh, yeah.
And my wife always says, you just assume way too much out of people. You're assuming that these people are mm-hmm. thinking are on your same level of where you're at and how you perceive things. Because she knows I would never do it to somebody. If somebody did something really nice for me, like, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't say, hey, here's your bill. So you just assume, right? Yeah. But I think it's a personality trait that some of us guys have got, that this is just the way we are. We think everybody's going to treat us the way we're going to treat them. It's just not how other people roll.
Well, every conflict I had where somebody wasn't delivering, every single one of them, I was like, all right, Rick, now's the time to nail them. And he's like, well, did you agree to a consequence if they didn't meet your agreement? I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, all right, start over, do it right this time.
It's almost too easy, you know. Like